The most Singaporean thing about USM is that you complain to the different agencies.
No, I encourage. Now, in Singapore, we belong here. We think this is who we are. But at the same time, individual Singaporeans could belong in many other places. What makes you decide you want to be here and this is your home? And it can't just be the char kway teow or the durian. It has to be something deeper. And that takes time to build up. We believe in multiracialism, meritocracy. We believe in the national pledge. And we also have a certain spirit of Singaporeans. And the way we look at the world, the way we interact with one another. So if somebody says you're a little red dot, I'll say, yes, I'm little. I shall show you I can shine. And you have to take pride in it and feel that this is my place. I belong here. I have ownership of this place, and we'll make something out of it. And I think that makes Singapore tick and makes Singapore what it is. Exceptional political system, how to sustain. Get good people into politics, vote for good people to be your MPs and to be your ministers, and work with them to make the country better. You need good people, you need the voters to understand that, and you need a sense of mission. I think you need a society where we all feel that we are Singaporeans together. You have that national identity to grow. And I talked about race, language, and religion. If you divide along race, language, and religious lines, and the country is split, you can't have good government, you can't have a good economic growth. You have to be quite a united society where everybody feels a stake, everybody feels that the country is working for it, and then you can have politics which are working well. And that depends on a lot of people feeling that I've done quite good out of this system. I have a responsibility to help this system work better and to help more people succeed like me. If external development happens, for example, the war in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, we feel the differential tugs in Singapore. We're all upset about it, but the Muslims are much more upset about it than the non-Muslims. It's a reality. It's natural. If something happens in India, the Indian Singaporeans, many of them will have a much closer interest in that than non-Indian Singaporeans. If something happens in China or in Taiwan, again, there are different pulls, and that's a pull on the majority community in Singapore. And we are not a Chinese country. We are a multiracial country which happens to have a Chinese majority. Even quite recently, some of them would say to us, 同文同种同宗同祖 为什么不同意? Very often we can agree, we work together, but sometimes we have to disagree, and you have to understand, well, we have different national interests. And if you don't understand that, then you cannot be a Singaporean. You cannot have a Singaporean identity. We encourage a hawker center culture. It's one of the forums where Singaporeans, you may be rich, you may be poor, you may be in a 5-room flat, you may be rental, but you all go to the hawker center, you all mingle, you all sit down at the same tables, you all have to clear your trays at the end. And, well, there's a certain egalitarianness about it. And there is a certain egalitarianness about Singapore society. I think it's part of our identity. I mean, part of me is that I don't just speak English, but I understand Chinese, I speak Chinese. As it so happens, I understand Malay, I speak some Malay. And it anchors me. I don't feel I'm a second-class English speaker. I go overseas, people say, oh, wow, your English is so good, pat you on the head. I'm Singaporean, I'm not American, I'm not British, I'm not Australian. I speak English, it's my working language, but I am Singaporean, and there's a certain culture and heritage which I belong to, and the language is an important part of it. My Mandarin is not as fluent as my English, even though I went to Chinese school, but it's something which I try to keep alive and work at keeping alive, and which is an important part of me. How to keep the language environment, that's a perpetual struggle. One of the things we are trying to do is to make AI chatbots speak to you in your mother tongue so you can practice a bit more. That can be helpful. I don't know how interesting the chatbot is to chat with, but I think the mother tongue teachers have done a heroic job in the schools, and they deserve all the support and approbation which we can give them. Either you decide to stand up and fight for the kind of Singapore which we believed in, which comes back to one united people regardless of race, language, or religion, or you choose to, nowadays they will say 躺平, lie flat, meaning I accept whatever happens to me, I just accept that, and I just accept my fate. That's a choice. Well, it's a choice to do nothing, but it's a choice. So for that generation, the choice was stand, fight, build. Now, this generation is the beneficiaries of the stand, fight, and build. What is the choice? Is life harder now than before? I think the competition is more visible. If you are in China, they call it 内卷. That means excessive, intensive competition. Just in the last few years, AI suddenly has become hot and exciting. Deep mind, deep seek. These are things which 5 years ago none of you or I would readily have known about. But it's suddenly come up, and I don't think that's the end of progress. So the opportunities are there. You have to work at it. Others are also competitive and capable and well-educated, but you have options. You're quite young, so in your parents' generation, I think that the living conditions, definitely prosperity-wise, the level was much lower. What advice do I have for young people in the age of AI and robotics? I think the technology is moving very fast. We don't know how the impact will be, but that you must be able to master not only some discipline, whether it's engineering or science or computer or computing, but also the ability to keep on learning and using new tools so that you can adapt as the technology changes. I think that there will always be something to do for human beings for a very long time to come. And when there's nothing for all of us to do, then we can lie down and we can all 躺平. But I don't think that's going to come in my life. Every generation, something will happen. Have no fear. You did not live through the founding crisis of Singapore, but your challenges will come. COVID was one of them, but it won't be the last. So when it next comes, please do well. If I'm around, I will cheer you on. If I'm not around, I'll be looking at you.